Police are searching for suspects after a local sailor was shot and killed at his apartment. President Biden is set to make his first speech to Congress since taking office. Their nearly $2 trillion plan he'll be unveiling. STPD and local businesses teaming up on a new program to set up safe havens for members of the LGBTQ and AAPI communities. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
Yeah, we have breaking news out of Manhattan, where federal investigators raided the home and office of former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Thanks for joining us. I'm Virginia Cha. Agents reportedly seized electronic devices as they executed a search warrant at his Upper East Side apartment. This is a move federal prosecutors had been pressing to make for months while Giuliani served as President Trump's personal lawyer. And they have been looking into whether Giuliani illegally lobbied the Trump administration in 2019 on behalf of Ukrainian officials and oligarchs who were allegedly helping Giuliani dig up dirt on Joe Biden. The raid signals a significant and aggressive new phase of this investigation. Now, in order to get a warrant, investigators had to persuade a judge they have a sufficient reason to believe that a crime was committed and that the search would turn up evidence of a crime. Giuliani has not been charged and has denied wrongdoing. Of course, we'll keep you posted on what else happens. Meanwhile, we're learning more about the sailor who was murdered in La Mesa over the weekend. Police say Cornelius Dante Brown was a Navy sailor stationed in Coronado. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell shows us where police are in their investigation.
La Mesa police are still trying to piece together what led to the shooting of Cornelius Dante Brown, a 22-year-old sailor stationed aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln. This was the scene late Saturday night at the Echo Point Apartments, where police say Cornelius Dante Brown was shot after opening the door of his apartment. Witnesses told police at the door there were two men wearing ski masks and black hooded sweatshirts. Brown was shot in the chest and neck. He died during surgery at the hospital. ABC 10 News has learned Brown was originally from South Carolina and was a third-class petty officer on the aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln. He had been on the ship since July of 2018. Brown joined the Navy in February of 2018, and the Lincoln was his first assignment after boot camp and school. A Navy spokesperson sent this statement to ABC 10 News, saying, quote, "This is a deep and tragic loss for our Abraham Lincoln and Navy family. Our thoughts and prayers are with Petty Officer Brown's family and loved ones." Police have not released a motive, and they're asking for the public's help. If you know anything that can help with the investigation, call police. Or you can contact Crime Stoppers, and you may be eligible for a reward of up to $1,000 for information leading to an arrest in this case. Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Happening tonight, President Biden will address Congress for the first time since taking office. His speech comes as he approaches his 100th day in the White House. As reporter Karen Kafer reports, he is expected to pitch Congress on a major new plan.
Acknowledging his administration's steps toward battling the COVID-19 pandemic in its first 100 days, especially the vaccination effort, President Joe Biden will use his first speech to a joint session of Congress to outline his next priorities, in particular for the U.S. economy.
What you'll hear the president say tonight is that we really have a once-in-a-generation opportunity right now to seize the moment, to make these investments, to really not only create jobs, but create jobs for the long haul.
A companion to his $2 trillion infrastructure and jobs proposal, the $1.8 trillion American Families Plan Biden will unveil tonight would invest in things like childcare, free community college, and paid family and medical leave. Biden also expected to press for action on expanding access to health care and on police reform legislation. Present for dozens of these presidential speeches as a U.S. Senator and as Barack Obama's vice president, Biden likely to be guided by an understanding of the platform and its purpose.
It's not so much that the speech itself is persuasive, but that it's part of a larger rhetorical effort by the president to shape the agenda.
Tonight's audience limited to about 200 people in the House chamber, rather than a crowd that typically numbers 1,000 due to ongoing COVID precautions. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafer.
Following the president's speech tonight, the Republicans tapping South Carolina Senator Tim Scott to deliver their response. Now, we're going to bring you all of this live tonight. Our coverage starts with ABC 10 News at 4 and 5, followed by World News Tonight. The address and Republican response will begin at 6 p.m., followed by a special edition of ABC 10 News. A way to help San Diegans in the LGBTQ community feel safer and supported. Businesses and the SDPD teaming up on what's being called the Safe Place program. The program has participating businesses putting visible stickers up in their storefronts. They look like this. Those identify them as places victims of hate crimes can go for safe haven and to get help from the authorities. SDPD's LGBTQ liaison says she knows firsthand how important it is for the community to have spaces like this, unveiled at Urban Moe's in Hillcrest.
When I came in here, I felt welcomed, respected, and safe. And so it only made sense to bring this sticker to this business. So that way, other members of the community, much like myself who've experienced the same, when they're in spaces like that, automatically feel safe and can know that they can call the San Diego Police Department.
The program being launched in Hillcrest, North Park, and other nearby neighborhoods is geared toward the LGBTQ community, but it will be expanded in the months ahead to provide resources to the AAPI community as well. People in the East County continuing to fight to keep two convicted sexually violent predators out of their neighborhood, and their county supervisor is taking up their cause. He tells ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie that changes need to be made to policies that he says are dumping a disproportionate number of sexual offenders in the East County.
But I do believe that we do need legislation at the very minimum to say that no district should have 70% of the sexually violent predators. I mean, they say that they're not dumping, but I think if you go to the dictionary, you'll see 67% is the definition of dumping.
Supervisor Joel Anderson says the dumping of so many sexually violent predators in the East County is disproportionately affecting some of its poorest communities. He held a press conference today and also testified last week at a hearing to possibly place a sexually violent predator into a home in suburban Mount Helix in unincorporated El Cajon. We're still waiting on a judge to decide if the home is suitable for Douglas Badger. And in 2 weeks, there's another hearing about a second SVP possibly being placed in that same home, Merle Wakefield, who was convicted of forcible rape and a lewd act with a minor. There was also the recent discovery of a group home just a few miles from the proposed location of Badger and Wakefield, where 10 registered sexual offenders were living in the same house. They've since vacated it, but Anderson says the company that was supposed to have vetted that housing situation is Liberty Healthcare, which is also in charge of the Mount Helix home. Anderson highlighted the larger issue today that he says that 67% of SVPs that have been released into the East County, 31% of all sex offenders in the county. Anderson said he's calling to reconvene the San Diego Sex Offender Management Council to review the current notification process and recommend changes to strengthen it. They haven't met in more than a year due to COVID, and there are vacancies on that council. He called this a baby step, but the SOMC could propose further action, including legislation to oversee the release and placement process, and Anderson hopes they could also provide more equity in the process. He says he'll propose the reconvening of that council at the Board of Supervisors meeting next Tuesday. Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
Well, the county has cleared another obstacle for those who have yet to be vaccinated. A number of sites are dropping appointment requirements. More than 20 vaccination sites across the county are now accepting walk-ins, something the superstations are not doing at this point. The county sites are still accepting appointments, which you can make online, but they're also setting aside doses each day specifically for walk-ups. They're hoping that will make things a little more convenient for some.
I've been trying to look for appointments, and it seems like a lot of places are super booked.
You can get your second dose at these sites too. You just have to bring your vaccination card. Again, a lot of sites are doing this, but not all of them. You're going to want to find a list, and you can do that on 10news.com. A quick update on the local vaccine rollout. San Diego County says 1.4 million people have received at least one dose so far. 1 million San Diegans are fully vaccinated. The county is aiming to double that number. Well, overnight, police started searching for the driver of a car involved in this fiery crash in National City. According to witnesses, a person who was on fire was seen running from the accident. Police say the driver of a Lexus lost control, crashed the car, which exploded. They also say a burglar alarm went off at a business near the crash. Officers discovered the front glass and the door you can see smashed in. They believe someone bashed his way in. Beer bottles were found in and around that vehicle, so anyone with information is being asked to contact National City Police. Maybe you felt it overnight. An earthquake in Borrego Springs sent the shaking for miles. A 3.5 magnitude quake hit right before 4 this morning, about 6 miles outside of Borrego Springs. A relatively mild quake, but folks in our area say they felt it as well.